We're all about the creepy. We're all a little kooky. Drawn to the mysterious, and we revel in the spooky. Meet the Blumbergs, my family.
We're a bunch of weirdos.
Renovating an old home isn't for the faint of heart. But renovating an 140-year-old, maybe haunted, definitely eerie, abandoned funeral home takes a very special kind of family. Welcome to our world.
From the historic, haunted heartland of Omaha, Nebraska, my name is Brian Corey, and it is my pleasure to welcome you all, young and old, to this special episode of the world-famous Necronomicast. For tonight's conversation, it's a fun one. Ever since their debut on Discovery Plus, the Blumberg family, Heather, Arryn, Rafferty, and Noah, they've captured the hearts and the wonder of all who have watched their hit TV show, We Bought a Funeral Home. Now, watching them transform the mysterious and cavernous Canadian funeral home into a unique and breathtaking masterpiece with a flair and an uncommon touch, it's catapulted them to stardom and established this charming family as the first family of the supernatural. And now calling in on the Necronomicast hotline, the Newsmaker hotline, all the way from the city of Dresden, it's my pleasure to welcome to the show the Blumberg family. We Bought a Funeral Home. I am so excited to have you guys. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
It is a pleasure to have you all on the show. It's one of these television shows, like I'm able to share it with my, my passion for kind of strange paranormal content. Not calling you all strange, but you know what I'm saying. But I'm able to share it with my wife and my family, and because it was just such a great, television experience that's on for all you streaming people on Discovery Plus. So it's a great pleasure to welcome you all. I really thoroughly enjoyed watching you guys and having you in my living room watching you guys remodel this funeral home. It was fantastic entertainment.
Thank you. I mean, we had a blast doing it. It was the craziest experience, but we still find it weird that we've done a TV show.
Yeah, tell me about that. I didn't quite pick up, you guys you had a nice house in Ontario. Is that where you guys started out?
Yeah, I mean, we're obviously not native to Canada, but we've been in Toronto for
10 years. 10 years, yeah.
And it was the middle of the pandemic, and you couldn't do anything other than go view houses. And this is all Arryn's fault, basically. He saw this house online and he was like, let's go have a look. And 5 days later, we bought it.
So you saw this house online, and, I look at houses online. I'm very happy with the house that I have, my wife have. But, you're always kind of just looking. You're looking at real estate ads, just seeing what things go for. And so you guys pull up this 12,000 square foot mansion, beautiful on the outside. It's very iconic looking, like a haunted mansion kind of looking like, and 12,000 square feet, 38 rooms. And then you're like, let's just go look at it. Were you interested in buying it? Just, did that scare you? Like that many square feet and how big it was?
No, we weren't really interested in buying it. We were a little kind of time wastery. We genuinely had nothing else to do. And it was as a way out of the city. So we thought we'd just go and have a look, because why not? But we loved it. Within the first few minutes of walking in, we were like, oh, we've got a problem. We need to buy this place.
Fantastic. Yeah. And Noah and Rafe, what did you guys think? I watched the show, of course. Actually, I watched it twice. I watched it when it was brand new. And then my wife and I rewatched it with my son, who you met just a minute ago. When you guys saw this, do you think your parents were absolutely crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah, I think both me and Raf were a little taken aback by it, but it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, we're no strangers to moving. A funeral home is definitely a new experience, but I don't know. I feel like I don't know. Nothing could surprise us at this point, so may as well.
Yeah, we were just as bored as everyone else during COVID, so we were like, yeah, why not?
Like the funeral homes in Omaha, most of them are, like more like a facility. There's not like the iconic house turned into funeral home. A lot of those sadly have been torn down. Our city likes to tear down like historic buildings in favor of new things, so I really enjoyed like seeing you guys take this iconic structure in this town that meant a lot to a lot of people, and you guys put in so much love into it. But it was funny, like watching like people's reaction, like to this new family coming in and, oh, are you going to open up the funeral home again? And you're like, no, we're going to live there.
Even now, we've been here a couple of years now, and we're definitely those weirdos that bought the funeral home still, even though there is a lot of appreciation that we bought the house and we've looked after it, and it's been sort of a refurbishment as much as it has been anything else, and it's been sort of a restoration rather than just gutting it and doing all new. But there's still definitely some people that, every now and again we'll hear a rumor about ourselves, and we're like, oh, wow, we didn't know we were that interesting.
Oh, and so like you guys buy the house, and then how were you contacted? How did you get hooked up with the production company? Because that seems very interesting to me, because I'm sure there's all kinds of, production companies and producers that are looking for like, interesting concepts that haven't been done too many times or before. And then they got to look for like people that are interesting, because, anybody could like buy a funeral home and they could be like boring, or psychopaths or totally strange. But you guys are all four of you and your dogs too, just like lovely people to watch. You can tell that there's so much love in the family. Like, I love how much respect that you show your children, and how much respect do they show you. It's apparent. Sorry, guys. I know we got teenagers there or young adults, but it was neat to see like you guys all working together, complimenting each other, giving each other a bunch of shit sometimes. Sorry. But, it was like a real family dynamic that was interesting, on top of course, the interesting part of being a funeral home. It was like, I really enjoyed the family dynamic too, being a family man myself.
It was, we've never done TV before. I mean, Raph has done film and TV, but we've never done reality TV or anything like that. So we had no idea how it was going to work. You obviously have no say over editing, so we didn't know. We filmed for 20 months, so we had no idea what they were going to do with all of that content. And I think, I'll speak for all of us, we loved the show. We were dreading seeing it because we don't like watching ourselves, but I feel that they were really respectful of our family and our dynamic and what we did. And I don't know, I think they probably made us seem a lot more interesting than we are.
That's interesting. I didn't know it was a 20-month shoot. So did they come like once a week for a day, or did they come for like a whole stretch of time every couple months? Like, tell me about the filming of it.
So yes to both questions. So we were never really alone in that 20 months, but you would have a small film crew that could be one or two people that would be here doing what they call progress shots, so making sure they capture every event and every bit of change in the house. And then they would come for a week at a time and do what they call a block, which is where you have a 12-man crew and PAs and everybody that come in, and we do sort of the bigger pieces of work or activity at that point. So it was strange, I think, when we moved into the house. We moved in with a film crew, and then we filmed for 20 months. So for the first 20 months of living here, it didn't feel like our home, did it?
No, not really. We were living with, half a dozen other roommates, which was definitely an interesting dynamic.
So where did any of them like stay the night there with you? Because there's some great shots, like some great scenes, like when there's a terrible storm brewing and it's raining cats and dogs, and like your contractor comes over the middle of the night and the film crew's there filming all that. Like, were there people staying the night there in unused rooms of the house while you were doing this filming and renovation?
Technically, none of them slept here. Having said that, having them here at 2:00 in the morning and having them here at 5 a.m. happened more than the poor crew ever wanted, I think. So, yeah, it was a lot.
It's really interesting to see how the house has progressed through the 6 episodes. Like, Arryn, like, you fancy yourself as a chef and you really like to create things in the kitchen. And then, at the beginning, episode 1, when you move in, you guys are literally like cooking macaroni and cheese and cooking pasta in a bathroom, like by the toilet. And you even say something like, well, I hope the health department doesn't say anything about this. And now you got this beautiful kitchen. So, I mean, could you, when you were, working on this, could you like see like some light at the end of the tunnel? Did you say all this is going to be worth it as you cook pasta next to the toilet bowl?
I don't know about said it, but hoped it would be worth it. It'd be better. It was kind of too late once we moved in. There's no really refund policy on buildings like this. So, we're going to have to make it work one way or another. But we lived sort of camping. We say we were camping, right? It was technically indoors, but we were camping for probably a year and a half in the house with little stoves and a barbecue outside, and that was about it. So yeah, it was honestly the biggest thing was having a dishwasher. Not having a dishwasher for 18 months when it's 4 of us and there were always other people around, so you were never really just cooking for us. Don't take dishwashers for granted. It's a lot, especially when you're washing everything up in a bathroom sink. It's this big. Amazing.
What I really love about the show too is, when I bought my house here, I was really hooked on like HGTV. You guys are in Canada. Are you guys familiar with Mike Holmes?
Oh yes.
Yeah, he's Canadian, isn't he?
He's Canadian, yeah.
Okay, so I watched a lot of his shows, and he's renovating, and so not that I fancy myself as a skilled tradesman, but I mean I think like watching shows, HGTV, like I became. And then living in my own house and working on my own house, I felt like I became more and more like handy. Like I feel like I can replace anything in the house. I could fix a lot of the things in the house. I'm not going to remodel an entire room and tear it down to the studs. But so like watching those kinds of shows, and then I love paranormal content. And it was like just such a perfect marriage of you going through this decorating and this renovating and designing these intricate, beautiful designs that you guys came up with, and the choice of materials and the workmanship that went into it. And then like Noah, your paranormal investigating on that television show, I have to hand it to you. Like I watch, like I said, a lot of paranormal television, but I have to say, like, honestly, like that is some of the best real paranormal investigating, true paranormal investigating that I've like seen on a television show, like actually going to a library, which a lot of people kind of neglect doing, or doing research on who owned the house and all the different people that have stayed there and and you guys went to looking at the cemetery and everything. So the research part of the paranormal, I had to hand it to you. I'm like, wow, this is like a real interesting, unique television experience.
It was. I've never seen anything like it. We've been stunned at the reception that it's had, because I think, it doesn't really, how the production company got a network to buy into it mystifies us, because, we want to do an HGTV show, but we also want to do, a bit of Ghost Adventurers or whatever with it. It doesn't seem like a natural connection, but they did, and it turned out well. I think there's this house has a huge history to it. It's nearly 150 years old. It was a family house, and it was a funeral home and many other things along the way. And things happen here all the time. But Monkey really wanted to get under the skin of not just sort of the oohs and ahs of things that go bang in the night, but the human side of it. Who are these people? What does it mean? I don't know, I'm talking for you, but you're
stepping on her lines.
I am stepping on her lines.
I don't even know what to say about it. You basically said it. Everyone does just kind of look at it at the aspect of ghosts being like, I don't know, but one solid thing, instead of remembering that they're people and their history to themselves and to where they are. And that is what really I was interested in above everything else.
What I thought was nice too is like when you were going and looking for the lady in blue, and you talk about Gertrude, who lived there, and her unfortunate accident. You know, people think, well, living in that funeral home must be creepy or scary, but you know, like funeral homes is a place, where people go to celebrate somebody's life, and you celebrate somebody that you loved, and at funeral homes, many times people talk about the wonderful times that they've shared together and all the beautiful memories that a family has had together, birthdays and wedding anniversaries and all those kinds of things are wrapped up in those emotions. So, you know, it wasn't like, ooh, there's a demon in the house, or none of those old tropes or anything like that you see on a lot of modern paranormal television. It was really like finding out somebody's story and like a loved one, somebody who lived in the house, had an accident, and trying to communicate in a nice, kind way. And you guys, like, I just was really impressed with the hospitality that you showed to perhaps the former guests of the house. It was remarkable that taking a place that some people would find, you know, they wouldn't spend one night in there, and you've decided to make it your family home with love and kindness for all.
I think the big thing is, and I was smiling as you were talking, because whenever anyone has the reaction, and everybody does,
sure,
you know, scary, haunted. And it's like, I say the same thing that you did every single time. You go to someone's funeral to celebrate them because you love them. Very few people go to a funeral to spit hate. I mean, there are a few, there's some weirdos out there, but generally it's, something of love. And so I think people are stunned when they walk into the house, and the atmosphere is, I mean, this is the most loving, positive energy house we've ever had. And you really do feel like it's a home when you walk in, and you really do feel welcome. And all the experiences that we have in the house during the filming and since, none of them are a demon trying to jump out of the wall and get you. It's all friendly, for want of a better word. Every now and again, we seem to get a passer through, as we call them, who comes in, who's a little bit, don't feel great about you, but they move on quickly. Our actual regulars, the people that were here first, who were here before us, they seem great. It sounds like an absolute nut job.
Yeah. You share some stuff that's happened in your room, Lucky.
Where to start?
Yeah, I mean, there's so much that goes on in this house. I wouldn't say my room is the most active, but
pretty close.
Yeah, it's definitely in the top three. I mean, doors slamming, doors locking, and even doors that don't have locks just being unable to open. Footsteps, voices. My mum thought she heard me up at 3 a.m. a few weeks ago, but I was asleep. So copycat voices.
Yeah.
God, just so much.
Shadows. We see people walking around.
Just footsteps in general.
Yeah. Noah has had someone call out her name a few times. You see people walking around the corridors. You hear music coming from the basement. Yeah. It's got to the point where we're blasé about it. If it's sort of the regular doors, footsteps, voices, we don't even comment on it anymore. It's got to that point.
Is that right? Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, I was going to ask, like, if the activity, well, first of all, we watched, 6 episodes and you get, quite a bit of the house done, but it's like 38 rooms, 12,000 square feet, a pool out there. That was part of an episode.
Yeah.
How much, like a year later now, like how much of the house, how much more have you worked on?
So since we stopped filming, we've done 3 more bedrooms, a parlor, and we're just working on a library at the moment.
Oh, wow.
But we've still got, nearly a dozen spaces to do. It seemed like such a great idea, this romantic, beautiful house. We didn't stop and think about the square footage and the cost to renovate per square foot. and just how much, because we all have day jobs, and then we have the show. There's a book being written about the house. I have an interior design company. Kids have school. Yeah, you don't think about how long it's going to take to get things done.
Sure. So like, like a year later, how did the town, like we see in the final episode or throughout the episodes, we see like how the town is reacting to you, how they reacted when you guys had the open house, how they reacted when you guys had the really cool Halloween display. We always try and have a nice Halloween display at our house too. So I love that part too. I thought it was great. But like a year later now, after the show is out, how's the town reacted to seeing their town of Dresden on the show and seeing townspeople on the show? Like one of my favorite guys, like Gary from Gary's Gallery. I thought he was great. And the one of the funny jokes that my wife and I were sharing was from Brian. My name's Brian, but Brian, the guy that repaired your organ that day, and he's talking about making sure your organ's oiled once a year. And like how are all these local people reacting to seeing themselves on TV?
I think for the vast majority of them, they really enjoyed it. In fact, a lot of people, not just in the town, but all the area around. Sort of, if we're in Walmart, we'll run into someone there like, "Oh, my auntie was on there," or "My uncle was there. It was really cool to see Gary because we haven't seen him in years." So I think people enjoyed the excitement from that point of view, definitely.
Yeah, so they were pretty happy with how the town was perceived or how the town was portrayed on the show.
If they weren't happy about it, they haven't told us. And people here are pretty straightforward. They let you know what's on their mind.
Awesome. Hey, Raph, I got a question for you. And Noah, too. Now, I don't know how old you guys are. Raph, how old are you?
22.
20. Okay. I remember like 20 some odd years ago when I was 22. And when I had friends come over to the house and meet my mom. My dad passed away when I was in high school. But and here's my mom, and introducing my friends to my parents or my mom into the house and everything. Like you got your work cut out for you a little bit. I mean, your parents are reality TV stars. You've got this iconic house in town. Like, how do your friends, you two, like when they come over and see your house or just to hang out, how do they, take it all in? What's the reaction from your friends?
Been some good reactions, I think. I mean, like you guys mentioned, this was a very sudden change. So I think even, telling people the news, "Oh, by the way, we're moving 3 hours away into a funeral home," it was definitely, you can imagine, it's quite a reaction. But it is also a beautiful house. Having this much space is nothing but great. So people definitely don't mind coming and stretching out their legs for sure.
Yeah, for sure. How about you, Noah?
I mean, I still have a couple friends from when we lived back in the city, and when they came up, they've been here a few times, and every time they're shocked. They're like, "Oh my God, it grew." And obviously, my friends in town, I moved when I was in 7th grade. Mm-hmm. So everyone knew me as go at the TV show, so they were all eager to see it. But I don't think any of them really understood just how funeral home it is, and how old it is, how big it is. So they were definitely shocked, even now, when I let them over.
So you guys have friends spend the night?
No. Oh.
You have Lauren and George and Emma.
Emma stays.
I have my city friends stay over.
Yeah.
And Emma.
Yeah. Who, and they're also experienced things when they've stayed over.
All of them have, yeah.
Wow. Now, have you guys seen the lady in blue? Have you had a sighting of her yet?
No, she's only ever shown that we know of herself to the two people who were mentioned on the show.
Okay.
Yeah. We hear this. You hear very occasionally, it sounds like a lady running up down the stairs because it's a lighter footstep than usual, and the dogs go absolutely nuts. They don't like the staircase at all. They, growl at it. The punches go, everything. But we've never seen her. Not yet, anyway.
Have you guys gone through and changed anything from the show that you had? I know, Noah, you had your bathroom and it had that cool the sticks like a wooded kind of area. You were talking about pooping outside, it looked like, and you had like the moss, like the moss on the floor around. I mean, have you guys changed anything after the show came out?
Yeah, loads.
Oh, wow.
Oddly enough, we did change it.
Well, I mean, when she says that, so like in Noah's room, the sticks did eventually go. Actually, just only recently, like in the last week, the sticks around the toilet went. But there were things like in Noah's living room, she didn't have a television on the show, but she had one in sort of real life. And so, putting the TV back up, turning the couch round, adding a little more decor. But it's that level of things that we've changed. We changed a couple of bits in our bedroom. It's not like we wiped out the rooms and did them again. They're all, anyone that's watched the show would walk in and recognize everything.
Well, we've been spending time trying to finish off all the other rooms because we only got, a third-ish done on the show, not even.
Yeah, about a third.
We do it all ourselves, so we've been slowly chipping away the rest of it.
I was amazed, like just doing renovations. Well, not renovations because my house is kind of a newer house, but like finding a contractor that you trust to come in. Now, not only were you guys finding a contractor that you could trust that could bring you in on a budget that you kind of established, but like Dave, the contractor, he really became like another like character, a family member on the show. He was in there playing jokes on you guys. Putting the skeleton foot underneath the ground or underneath the floor when you tore it up. Like it was really, really cool that you guys found this contractor that was able to do immaculate, beautiful work, like redoing that table and everything too. Finding this contractor that also was great on camera. I mean, that's pretty rare.
It's very rare in a town that's got 2,000 people.
Right.
It was this weird set of events that, from us even seeing the house and finding out about it through being contacted by a production company to a network that wanted something random to finding a contractor in a tiny town. The whole thing, I mean, it sounds like a ridiculous film plot. It doesn't happen in real life.
Right. Now you said you're working on did you say there's a book that you're working on about the history of the house?
Yeah, there is an amazing author who specializes in paranormal called Richard Estep. Yeah, and he contacted us. He did this the same as you, I guess. He sort of saw the show, and he and his amazing wife Laura thought they'd put on one to see what it was all about because they were bored, and ended up binge watching the whole thing, and reached out and said he'd like to sort of maybe write about the house. Could we sort of talk about it? He and his team, we had 9 investigators came in for a week, and there will be a book out later this year. I think July.
Oh,
and
go ahead, please.
No, it's coinciding with the Michigan Paracon, so it'll be released there.
That's fantastic. Richard has been a guest on my show, and I've done like 2 like public investigations with Richard. He came to I'm in Nebraska, but just right over the river. He did an investigation at a place called the Malvern Manor, which is a huge yeah. He's been there, and then I also was at the Farrar Schoolhouse in Maxwell, Iowa, which
I want to buy that school. It's for sale. I really want to buy that school.
I do too. I mean, it's not, it's like, I forget what the listing was the last time I saw it. I think it was like 250,000, and it's
come down again. It's nearly 200,000. I mean, it's cheap. It's not cheap, but
no, but have you been in the house or the schoolhouse?
No, they've offered to have me go, but I haven't managed to get there yet.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. It's about a 2-hour drive, 2 hour, 15 minutes from my house. And I was there 2 years ago for an event that Richard was at. And he's going to be a guest on the show later in the year, back on my shows to talk about, he writes like 10 books a year or something like that. So we'll pick one, but great. I can't wait. I didn't know Richard was writing the book about your house. That's fantastic. Yeah. He's a class act for sure.
He is one of little Miss Noah over here who doesn't like anyone. She would leave Richard in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I absolutely love Richard. He's a great guy.
And every single one of his team members that he brought with him to do the investigation, they've now become friends. You know, they're just the best collection of people.
Yeah, he's a class act for sure. I think I was just looking over here. I think I have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 or 7 of his books just right over here on his shelf. So yeah, shout out to Richard Estep, class act for sure. You know, I'm just really in awe that I got you on the program. It's like I said, it was a total treat for me and my wife to watch something, you know, spooky and paranormal, but also like she was getting a lot of like cool ideas about like we're not going to do it, but we never thought about like painting an entire kitchen black. And when you say it on the show, you're like, wow, that's something else. And then when you see it, it's glorious. It's fantastic. Do you ever like doubt yourself like before, you know, like I don't know, we're going to paint the whole place black. And then you're doing it like when does it like click that you like we made the correct decision? Do you see it in your head beforehand or?
I see it in my head, and I have this idea, and it's usually kind of an 80% their idea. I'm like, okay, this is where I'm headed, and I will tell these 3 what we're going to do, and every single time they doubt me and they complain and they say it's going to be terrible.
See, what my mum doesn't like to mention is that the black kitchen was actually my idea.
He's lying. He does this to wind me up. Oh.
No, it was my idea as soon as we moved in.
It was completely Raph's idea.
I'm with Raph on this one.
Yeah.
See, this is what
I love it.
But I mean, we want to talk about doubting you. I mean, Dad, the kitchen was yours. It's your kitchen. So if you want to talk about one of yours, right? You should go.
Okay, I'm not going to.
Oh my
so
God.
Arryn claims credit. So every time we do anything, he will claim credit for it afterwards.
Only the stuff I like.
Spoken like a true husband there, Arryn. For sure. What's your favorite thing to cook? Like if you're in there and you're making it like a favorite meal, like you got an amazing kitchen for sure. Like what is like your specialty? Like you're going to surprise your family. Like let's make something good tonight. Or, you know, you're going to entertain some guests. Like what do you cook in the funeral parlor kitchen?
Yeah, we keep it simple because it's such a great range. Honestly, do a lot of steak, a lot of roasts, barbecuing, and then you bake. I don't know how to bake, so we do baking. But it's big enough that we can all be in there at the same time.
Not that you
which is great.
Yeah.
But yeah, we like, I don't know, go-to stuff. I'm trying to think. You lot are all absolute carnivores, so I mostly do steak.
It's
just easy.
Yeah, you compliment yourselves there in the kitchen too. The baker, the steak, you know, the cook, the baker. Fantastic. Yeah. And then Raph comes up with all the good ideas about how to paint the place, right?
Exactly. Thank you.
Oh.
You heard it here first, everybody. Necronomicast exclusive. The secrets of the Blumberg family. Raph is the true designer. I love it.
It's funny. I would usually give him complete credit because he actually in the house, because we do everything ourselves.
Yeah.
Raph is actually brilliant at it. Arryn does demo. That's his skill set and carrying. Raph helps me do the build, and actually he has a brilliant design eye. Really good.
Right on.
And Noah hides from everybody because she doesn't like doing any work.
Yeah.
You just kind of give your nods of approval and looks good,
Not
Mom.
even
Not even that.
She just hides up on her floor, so we can't ask her to help.
Yeah, homework.
For sure, right. That's funny. Like you hide up. You just said you hide out on your floor, not in your room, but on your floor. That's so cool. What was I was going to ask Raph something else. Oh, yeah. So we're recording this now in February. What'd you guys do like for the last, do you guys still doing the big Halloween there in Dresden?
We actually didn't. The last one. Through Richard, we got connected with Kim Anderson out at Asylum 49 in Utah. And we've been out there a lot. And actually, Raph spent the best part of sort of the summer and the end of last year up until really January, working out at the asylum.
Oh, what were you doing there?
Just building the haunt itself and helping run it and the works. So a little bit of everything while there.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Have you guys had anybody else from the United States or Canada or anybody else reach out to you and think they want to do something similar, like with a funeral home, like looking for advice or anything like that?
We have, yeah. We have had actually recently a funeral home where people want to do that, but we've had people that have wanted to buy just generally unusual buildings or old buildings, and they sort of, this sounds ridiculous, but they sort of liked seeing our show and took sort of confidence from our show that it can be done. So we're working with a few different people in different ways to help them with either sort of the renovation of their building or getting into some of these buildings, things like that.
When we're done here later, I'll send you guys a link. There is a iconic funeral home that used to be a church in the 1800s, and then it was a family bought it by the name of Kramer here in the Omaha area. Beautiful brick building, just iconic in our town. And then the Kramer family, sold it. And then it was a funeral home up until last year. And the current owner just had some personal problems and he couldn't keep the place up. And so now a bank owns it. And so at some point, the bank is going to have to sell it. And there's some other funeral homes around town, some of the bigger ones that are sniffing around it. But everybody's got this idea of, they want to keep it. Maybe not a funeral home, but they want to absolutely keep it because it's a historic building in our town. And if I won the lottery, I told my wife, I leaned over to my wife and I told her, I was like, if we won the lottery, I would buy the Funeral Home and I would do something similar to you guys. I wouldn't, it's not like 12,000 square feet. So I don't know if I would, live there, but I totally had this idea of making like a nice, like a either a bar or a coffee kind of house and like a library, like a bookstore. And then like in the main chapel kind of area, like a lecture hall or a place where people could have a funeral service, like rent the place like an event center, or maybe have their marriage blessed or some, like an event or a lecture hall kind of a thing. And if I won the lottery, I would definitely like email and give you guys a call to see if I could get some ideas for sure.
Well, Raf's on call, so you can email Raf.
Yeah.
It's all his ideas. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'll email you guys just pictures of the place so you can see what I'm talking about because, those kinds of places, it started off, like I said, a church in the late 1800s and then just became a funeral home. But so many families in our community went through there and, the great-grandparents were buried there. The grandparents were buried there. The parents were buried there. It's an important part of a community. And for, and you guys took this place and treated it with kindness and love and respect and built the place. I think whoever had it back in the day, I forget the last name. It was, who were the people? The Clarks, right? Were they the ones that owned it originally?
They weren't original. They were the people that turned it into the funeral home. It was the Hustons that built the house and owned it originally. Yeah.
Okay. I'll get this history when I read Richard's book, but I just think like you've like, if they're smiling down or if they're looking down at you right now, they've got to be smiling and saying like, thank you for taking something that we loved and treating with love and having like, the love of your family in there and then sharing it with, like my family and thousands of other families out there. You've done you probably didn't know it at the time while you're pulling up pink carpet and knocking holes in walls, but you did like a great, like a service in a way to people, just, showing how to preserve a building and show it love and respect and not tear it down.
Thank you. We really appreciate you saying that. It's, we take the mickey out of each other a lot, but we all feel very strongly about buildings like this, that they should be preserved and they should be loved. You can't replace the history and the memories that the local community has for places like this. So, we're here for however long we are. We'll do whatever we can to make sure that the house is safe and secure and looked after and we will restore as much of the architecture back to what it was originally, and then it'll be onto someone else, and hopefully will also be the caretaker for a while. That's what I like to think anyway.
Yeah. I love that. As you guys are living there and restoring the place and everything, do you ever allow tours if anybody, I mean, it's your house. If you want to wander around in your bathrobe all day, it's your house. I don't, but do you guys ever have open houses or special times during the year where people can stop by and just take a look around at your beautiful home?
So in the summer, we did do, over 3 months, we did 1 day a month. We did house tours. And we did open up the house. We opened up the whole house and did guided tours and gave the history and talked about the show and what's coming next and all the rest of it. It is a lot of work. Getting 12,000 square feet people ready. So we're not doing anything at the moment. Come summer, we might again. But it's, we know the interest is there, so we feel guilty not doing it. But as I say, amongst everything, it is a lot of work. We do rent out the house. Like, we have photo shoots happening here.
Oh, yeah.
We've got a wedding coming up at the end of the year, things like that. So
yeah, that was going to be a question too. Like, is anybody wanted to renew their vows in the old in the chapel, or have have their I don't know, the rehearsal, the bride and groom, have drinks in your speakeasy downstairs, because that'd be a place that a Dresden resident probably would love to have a drink at.
Yes, there has been, the speakeasy has had some very solid use.
I bet.
Yeah.
And Raf, you're 22 now, so you can partake down there for sure, right?
I can indulge with the big boys and girls, yeah.
And have a cigar with your old man?
Yeah.
Gross.
Well, you got that fan that carries all the smoke out. I thought that was a good touch. I wanted to.
Yeah, we do use it, not all the time, but we use it enough.
Well, I love it. Listen, I really thank you for sharing your family with all of us out here in TV land, and thank you for your time being on my show. I just thought you guys were so interesting and so much fun, and it was such a great marriage of the right people, a very cool location, and your production company too. I thought the music was great. I thought the cinematography, how the shots were framed, how the house looked, how it was lit. The whole thing, my wife and I were watching, we're like, this show's great, and having you guys on my program, it's been an absolute treat. I think you guys are just a delight, every one of you.
Thank you. You're very much.
Thank you.
There they are, ladies and gentlemen, the Blumbergs here on this episode of the Necronomicast. There we go, everybody. Episode 270, right there for you. The Blumberg family. Heather, Arryn, Rafferty, Noah, thank you so much for being a part of the show. It was nice that we got a little shout out to Richard Estep. I had no idea that he was writing a book about the house. I'll have to get another shelf, the Richard Estep shelf, for my library. Episode 271. It's coming in a couple weeks, and I better decide which one it's going to be. I've got a couple in the can. I've also got one that's coming. I don't have it booked yet, but I just got the email the other day that it's going to happen. And man, woman, and child. I might retire after that one. That might be an exaggeration, but I am excited about some of these things that I've got, that I've been working really hard on and trying to have some fun experiences on this Necronomicast program. And hopefully you enjoy listening to them and getting as much fun listening to them as I am putting it all together. I gotta thank some people though. Oh my God, who do I have to thank? I gotta thank Zip. I always have to thank Danielle. I gotta thank Jamie. I gotta thank Warren for all your help on my Buy Me a Cup of Coffee campaign. You guys, thanks so much. And everybody, thanks so much for listening. Thanks for all your support, the emails. It's heartwarming to have the outpouring of support, having all these great guests, and be able to do this thing that I love so much. All these great conversations. So thanks everybody that's helped the show. Thanks all my past guests, current guests, future guests. Thank you to Hastings College for inviting me out for that paranormal lecture last week. That was awesome. Oh man. My goodness. All right, it's time to get some sleep.